It's 5:15, and now in its run-up to Christmas, there are so many wonderful shows being performed at theatres up and down the land, and one such example is Bedknobs and Broomsticks, the magical Disney tale that, of course, all of us have seen more than once, in fact, in the film version, of course, is currently touring the UK as a stage production, and it is at the moment at the Orchard Theatre in Dartford for this week. Now, our very own Andy Sayers had the opportunity to chat to the cast lead, Dianne Pilkington, and he started by asking her that with the tour stopping off at a different theatre every week, what happens when they first arrive there?
So what we do is we get here on the afternoon before the first evening show and run through anything that's complicated, stroke potentially dangerous if we didn't do it.
Yeah, just a bit. And I would imagine different venues, different side stages.
Completely, yeah. I mean, it's all completely different. Some venues have bigger stages but smaller wing space, and obviously we've got quite a lot of set, so we need to figure out different ways of doing it, and others have smaller stages that aren't as deep, so then we have to work out some of the other stuff. So, yeah, it just requires working out we've got two versions of the show that fit in completely in most venues. So we just have to kind of work through which one we're doing and go from there, really.
So it's not just a case of trying to remember where you are week in, week out. It's kind of what your stage is doing as well, I would imagine.
Exactly, but we've done it a few times now. We've gone from sort of smaller stages to bigger stages to smaller stages. So we've done it a few times. It's starting to become a little bit more second nature. As in, we're doing that version. Okay, great.
Actually, that was going to be one of the things. I mean, you've been in sort of like Les Mis, Mamma Mia, Wicked, Only Fools and Horses in the West End. So for you, is it a different kind of mindset and the way you have to prep to go from a set show onto a tour?
Yeah, it is a very different mindset. You just have to get used to, obviously, we're still doing 8 shows a week, but they tend to be in the last part of the week, as opposed to spread out more. So it's just about, learning to pace yourself in a different way. But it's not that different. It's just that sometimes I don't quite know where I'm going to be in the country.
Just turn up with your suitcase and that's it.
And I just have to look on booking.com and work out where I've booked for that week.
Do you have any kind of rituals before you go on stage? Or any...
Do you have any rituals? I have a barocca, and I say substitutionary locomotion as fast as I can, as many times as I can, because it's a real mouthful.
What's your secret to keeping up the enthusiasm and keeping going? And
keeping the show fresh, it's not that hard with this one. And I say that with the greatest love for everything. It's a very busy show and very difficult, and there's a lot of great material there. So we're still finding things all the time. And I have great people that I'm working with. The whole cast are fantastic, but I have to give particular mention to Charles and Connor, who I'm on stage with a lot of the time, and the children, because they are wonderful at keeping it fresh, and we really bounce off each other. It's lovely. We've become a little family unit on there, and everybody else on that stage, you've never seen people work so hard, and it's a really fun group of people. It's a really talented, fun, eccentric, eclectic mix, and it all goes to keep the show interesting for me and for the audience, I think.
Are you able to influence and develop the characters differently from the film?
To a degree. The script has been in the works for a long time, and Brian, who wrote it, and Neil, who wrote the music, are really detailed, and the characters are very beautifully drawn. They are different from the film in some aspects and similar in others, because obviously it's a great source material, and the books are a great source material. So they have developed what is essentially a really beautifully crafted piece. So as an actor, your job is to interpret that with the help of them, actually, because they were there for full rehearsals. So that was really beautiful. You don't always get that, and it's wonderful to have the writers there. But yes, developing together, you come up with your own ideas. There's things where you make up a little backstory and you have a discussion about that, and you say, what would make this character do this? So you flesh out the things for you, and they're not necessarily things that would be spoken directly to the audience, but hopefully what make it a bit of a warmer, fully rounded character. They were there already. I can't take that away from the writers. They were so beautifully put together. But I'd like to think, they were very generous, as were the directors. Jamie and Candice were extremely generous with their time, and also with throwing it open to the room. Everybody in the room was invited to collaborate on this piece, which is, again, makes it a real joy to come back to theatre on something so creative.
And tell me about your role.
Eglantine Close. Yes. She's an apprentice witch, and she's trying to save the UK, but the world, from the threat of the looming shadows. Now, in the film, it's very, very clear that it's set in World War II. Mm-hmm. We've slightly made it a little bit more open to interpretation of who those looming shadows are. We don't see specifically people marching around in Nazi uniforms. It's very much something that is open to interpretation for now as well as for later.
And for you, have you got a favourite scene or favourite song or favourite part of the show?
Oh, goodness. I probably Substitutionary Locomotion, because it's a bit epic. I mean, it goes, it builds and builds and builds and builds, and obviously it's the first time. This is what she's been working towards. For somebody who doesn't know the story, the whole reason that she's trying to be a witch is she wants to help with the war effort, but she specifically needs to get this one spell, and this is why they enchant a Bedknob and go all over the place. They go to London, they go to the island of No Pipo, not Nabumbu, as was in the film, and they go in search of this spell. And the spell is to animate objects and send those out to fight. This is a very famous scene in the film. And there's a wonderful song called Substitutionary Locomotion. And it's the first moment where she tries the spell out. And it's full of theatrical magic, but it's also a really fun thing. It's really satisfying to sing, because it starts off in a very mystical place and then ends up in a very joyful place.
So you really get to go for it then, don't you? By the sound.
Yeah, I really get to go for it at that point.
And let loose. And how is the fly in bed? Is it comfortable?
Yes, lovely. I mean, we don't get to lie down on it or anything, but it's a fairly comfortable ride. Yeah. I mean, I did get a bit of motion sickness to start off with, but I seem to have come past that.
I was going to say, I did wonder if there was anything like that. So
yes, I got terrible motion sickness in the first couple of venues, but I seem to have got better. So that's touch wood.
Hopefully that carries on, and that or it doesn't carry on, whichever way it goes. Why should people come and see it? I
think people should come and see it because it really is a family show. It's not, and this is something that I'm trying to put out there. It is not a kids show. It is a family show. It's not aimed specifically at children. There's plenty in there for the adults. I think there's plenty in there for all generations. We get children coming who are sat rapt. Just their joy is just gorgeous. Hearing a child laugh is wonderful. And then, with their parents who are also trying to work out how on earth we've done some of the magic. I think it really is one that you can go to with the whole family. It's all about family anyway. It really has a strong theme in it about a family, and also it's full of magic.
Bedknobs and Broomsticks is at the Orchard Theatre in Dartford from now through until Sunday. Performances are at 7:30 this evening, on Friday at 7:30. Saturday, matinee at 2:30 and 7:30 for the evening performance, and on Sunday a 1pm and a 5pm performance. Bedknobs and Broomsticks, starring Dianne Pilkington, at the Orchard Theatre in Dartford through until Sunday. If you want to find out more and to book your tickets, 0343 310 0033, or you can go to the website to book tickets, orchardtheatre.co.uk.
It's a kind of magic.